and haven't written anything, maybe you want to consider. Again, question for all of you. How did you discover Unfound? What was the first episode you listened to? All right. As you're writing out your answers, and I will read them when I'm done talking about this Friday's case. This Friday disappearance was going to be last Friday's episode, but because of things that happened last week with my dad deciding to, he wanted to go back to Pennsylvania, kind of threw a wrench into the plans. And I decided to push it to this week. And I thought playing Jennifer Wilkerson's old episode, my interview with Vicky, was fitting, being that Vicky passed away recently. And it also gave me a chance to talk to the think tank about Jennifer's case and tell them about all these things that have gone on over the past few years. Unfortunately, a lot of those things I cannot talk about publicly. But this Friday is going to be the disappearance of Thomas Charles Murray Jr., nicknamed TJ, Tom Jr. He disappeared from Spring, Texas on October 19th, 2011. And the interview is going to be with his father, Tom. And the title of the episode is Duality of a Man. Because we have a situation in this disappearance where TJ was known as a very nice guy, good guy, liked to work with kids, was a little league umpire, had a brother that was like 10 years younger than he was a good mentor to him, liked to take him out and play sports with him. But on the other hand, on the night of his disappearance, he slapped a woman for seemingly no reason and got in trouble for it and got kicked out of a bar. So we have this very nice guy, but on the other hand, he slapped this woman for no reason. And then there is a video of that night inside this Rookies or bar called Rookies. There's a video showing TJ going outside by himself and then him walking in a southerly direction from Rookies, never to be seen again. Now, what I think you're going to probably find most interesting about this disappearance, besides the facts, and there are many, is that I got a lot of coverage for this disappearance. I was very fortunate to be able to talk to his friend Jeff, who was with him that night, that this all happened. And I got to talk about what he remembered. In fact, I got to talk to him twice. And so after my interview with Tom, I will detail my conversation with Tom, or with Jeff. Also, I was able to track down the woman TJ slapped. And I got to talk to her. I only talked to her once, about 15, 20 minutes. She recounted that night the way she remembered it. We do not use her real name in the episode because she is a victim in this. She was slapped. And I guess it is possible, had TJ not disappeared, that she might have filed charges against him for assault or something like that. So she is a victim, so we do not use her real name. In addition, and this was not necessarily planned, but it happened, the current detective on TJ's disappearance here 9 years later called me. I'm not saying that's a first, but it's almost a first. So I got to talk to the current investigator, cold case investigator on TJ's disappearance. His name is Detective Fadi Rizk, Fadi, and then last name Rizk. And I think it's very important that maybe possibly before you listen to the episode on Friday, that you watch, or I guess listen to the interview that Detective Rizk did last year, just in 2020, so very recently, regarding TJ's disappearance. It's on YouTube. If you do a search for TJ Murray, you will find it. I've linked to it on Facebook in both the group and the page a couple times, as a matter of fact. And I think that you need to listen to that and really listen to it very closely. So he called me. We talked, told him what Jeff and this young woman said to me. And then of all things, he called me today So we had another conversation, which was nice. And so we have a lot of coverage. I don't know if it's the most coverage we've ever had for a disappearance, maybe up there. It's certainly in the top 5, where you get to hear from TJ's father. I've also talked to TJ's mother off the record. Got to talk to his friend who was with TJ that night. I got to talk to the woman that TJ slapped, and I got to talk to the investigator currently working on TJ's disappearance. So I was very excited about all of that. I wish we could do more of that. Usually there's just not enough time, but this kind of came together very quickly within a few days, where I talked to Jeff, and then 2 days later I talked to this young woman, and then a day later the detective on the case called me, and then I talked to Jeff again on December 29th, and then Detective Rizk called me today. So, and you'll hear about all of it. None of it was off the record. I never told any of these people that our discussions would be off the record, but Jeff recounted what he remembered about that night, what he remembered seeing and thinking. This young woman talked to me about what happened that night, and frankly, she talked about what it's been like, because a lot of people have suspected her in TJ's disappearance. She told me about how it's been very difficult on her. And then with Detective Rizk, you can imagine he didn't tell me much, but I will detail what I told him, and I will talk about what I got out of the interview that he did last year. So once again, this Friday, the disappearance of Thomas Charles Murray Jr., TJ, Spring, Texas. The title of the episode is Duality of a Man. What that means is that we as humans have the ability to be opposites. We can be both lazy and very energetic, kind and rude, violent and passive, very loud, very quiet, the duality of man. And that's a line that comes from the movie Full Metal Jacket. And the reason I use that is, once again, because TJ was known as being this very nice kid, young kid, helping a lot of people out, working with young people, officiating young people's sports and everything. And then on the other hand, he's slapping this woman in a bar. Duality. How do you square that? The TJ that's the little league umpire with the TJ that's slapping a woman. And this happened on October 19th, 2011. The interview is with his father. The official interview that's recorded is with his father, Tom. But like I said, I got to talk to a lot of other people. And it's a tough one. I'm going to tell you right now, tough disappearance. Going to be interesting to see what you all decide happened. All right, let's see everybody's answers now to the question of how did you all discover Unfound?